Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to your Hogs Hoop Report with Mr. Kevin McPherson, the busy man. You're on the AAU circuit right now. You're just coming from the Adidas circuit on the bus right now. Pretty busy guy, but let's talk about the 2023, 24, and 25 recruits that Arkansas is looking at.
Yeah, man, this is the hoops report on the charter bus. we pulled over for a minute. I got a little quiet in here. We've been loud and partying, but look, Arkansas coaching staff, we know what the recruiting successes look like when you talk in class of 2022 in the portal. But this was the second live eval period when you start looking at those classes you mentioned, 23, 24, and 25. And so it's the second one in April, second one of the year, and Arkansas coaches were out in force. I was at the Adidas 3SSB circuit in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Arkansas coaches were there to see class of 2023 big man Rashad Marshall, been off the radar out of Blytheville, 6'9", man is built sturdy, and he is active around the basket. But he's also got a little face-up game, CJ. But Arkansas assistant coach Anthony Ruda was out to see him Friday night. Marshall led his 17 and under Arkansas Hogs team to a 3-1 record this week, and he averaged a double-double and was getting 20 and 10 before Sunday's game, and he finished with 16 points. But the young man has, had teams like Duke out to see him multiple times. Recently picked up a Kansas offer. And I say off the radar because he's not in the national recruiting rankings right now, but I expect that to change soon. Again, Arkansas has interest, and that's class of 2023. When we move it to 2024, you've got Keonor Boateng at Little Rock Central. He averaged just over 20 points, 9 rebounds a game, filled the stat sheet as the 16 and under Arkansas Hawks went 4-0 at this event, playing some really good teams. They won most of their games by double digits. So this team is rolling, but Honor Boateng at 6'5" is an explosive wing. His perimeter skill has really improved. Arkansas offered him a while back, and Arkansas, is among many high major schools that have offered. And of course, his profile continues to raise. He's the number 36 player in the country according to 247 Sports, so a high-level 4-star. And when we look at the 16 and under Hawks, it's not just about Keonor Boateng. You've got some more guards on that team. Class of 2024, Lane Taylor out of Farmington, a young man that can play the 1, the 2, and he's a guy that's also off the radar, not in the rankings right now, but Purdue is showing interest, and I think Arkansas coaches as time goes on are going to notice him at more of these events, so another really good player. Also class of 2024 playing up with the 17 and under Arkansas Hawks out of Memphis. This is a player that the Razorback staff has shown interest in. They're keeping up with him. It's Jay Nash, a strong 6'2" guard, a really good facilitator, first point guard, tough on defense. And when he gets and penetrates in the lane, CJ, he's effective scoring the basketball. So we talk about where I've been at Adidas. These are some of the names that have stood out. 5-star Bay Fall for the Colorado Hawks 17U. Versatile player around the basket because of his length and quickness off the floor. Plays a post game but can also do some other things. And his teammate, now he's a top 10 5-star, but his teammate on those Colorado Hawks, Asani Diop, another 6'10", is more of a perimeter player and uses his quickness and his athleticism to get a lot of things done, facing the basket, attacking the rim, but can also play inside. So those two 6'10s, top-level priority recruits for Arkansas because they were on an unofficial visit just back in February when Arkansas hosted Kentucky. They were there for an unofficial visit. I talked to Asani Diop today, and those guys really like Eric Musselman and what Arkansas has going on, so we'll keep an eye on that. But when you talk about Arkansas staff, including Eric Musselman, he was on the road in Indianapolis for the Nike EYBL session, and that was Friday and Saturday. So he got back in time for the Garth Brooks concert, but he was heavily involved looking at a lot of Arkansas's players, including Layden Blocker. When I say Arkansas targets, class of 2023, 6'2" guard out of Little Rock who plays at Sunrise Christian Academy. He's on the circuit with Bradville Elite 17U. Musselman and Arkansas coaches saw him play every game in this session. In their previous session a couple of weeks ago, he's set to take an official visit to Arkansas June 6th through 8th. And so really keep an eye on that recruitment because Arkansas has made him a priority. When the coaching staff goes in force and attends all of his games, I think it sets a precedent, tells him that they really have prioritized him. So keep an eye on Layden Blocker. But we talk about 5-stars in that 2023 class on the Nike circuit. Omaha Ballou, powerful, explosive 6'8" forward. Ron Holland, another 6'8" forward. Robert Dillingham, a 5-star guard. DJ Wagner, the number 1 recruit in that 23 class, another 5-star. guys like Zayden High, a 6'9" big man who's improved his profile. You talk about a chart climber, 6'9" forward that's just outside the top 100. I think he's going to be a guy that continues to push that top 40 now since he's been playing so well in the spring. But there's so many other names Arkansas coaches were out to see when you start talking about the splitting up the trip between the Nike circuit in Indianapolis and where I was at, Adidas 3SSB in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
It's a busy week for those recruits. Busy week for Eric Musselman. He even came back for the Garth Brooks concert and got there on time, but he's still on the recruiting trail. We'll talk about a guy that they're already bringing to Arkansas this year, Nick Smith Jr. I heard he had a new ranking along with another McDonald's All-American.
Yeah, so we know he racked up that MVP honor at the Jordan Brand Classic last weekend. And then his birthday was early in the week. He had a birthday on Monday, turned 18, but the rankings all updated. And for most of these publications now, it's their final update. And so when you looked at rivals, they bumped him up, Nick Smith Jr. to number 2 in the nation. When you look at ESPN, he moved up 3 spots from 6 to number 3 in the nation. When you look at Sports Illustrated, he moved up from number 3 to number 2 in the nation. So here's a guy that you can make a case is the top player in the nation. I believe he is. I've been saying that for a while, even before he was ranked in the top 20, because of his versatility, the way that he plays, not only with an alpha mentality, but he backs it up and he plays to win. He shares the ball. Nick Smith Jr. is, a special player. And if you go back to rankings, CJ, you have to go back to Corliss Williamson. This is before they had star rankings,
right.
But several publications back then had him ranked 1, 2, or 3. He was the Gatorade National Player of the Year back in 1992. But that's how far back you have to go to find a player from Arkansas that Arkansas brought into its program that was rated so highly when you look at his consensus. And so Nick Smith Jr., that's a big statement with all the top-level players Arkansas has brought in, not only from in-state, but out of state. When you look at even Anthony Black moved into top 10. Jordan Walsh, when those rankings came out, is still hovering around top 10, number 11 on ESPN. So not only does Arkansas have 3 5-stars, but they've got 3 guys that are generally ranked in the top 15, and that's a big percentage of the top players in the country. These guys will be protected as one and done. So we already knew how good this class was, but when the rankings updated after all these big events like McDonald's All-American game, the Nike Hoop Summit, and then the Jordan Brand Classic more recently, Arkansas's signed players did enough to establish that they were in fact get a bump in the rankings. And we know Anthony Black signed his letter of intent, by the way. That happened on Wednesday. He got that ink done, man. Right. So he's official. Arkansas's top number 2 rated class in the country is all on board, officially signed and ready to, and sealed and ready to come up to campus late May, early June.
I'll tell you one thing, Kevin. I'm looking forward to this basketball team coming in Fayetteville. I'm looking forward to this number 2 ranking team and see what they can offer and what they can gel with this transfer portal. I was just telling Otis not too long ago. It's not Mortal Kombat. It's Portal Kombat because everybody's in the transfer portal nowadays. But before we let you go on that bus, Kevin, have you heard anything from Jalen Williams? I know he has pretty much another month to take his name away from the NBA draft if he's not going.
Yeah, so, Jalen Williams is going through training. I won't mention where it is, but it's not in Arkansas. And we're going to see, we'll see if he gets an invite to the combine. I expect he will. Mm-hmm. I think, there's going to be opportunities to work out individually for teams. So there's all kinds of stuff on the table. As long as he hasn't signed with an agent, he's got till June 1st to pull out. And those other opportunities will happen before that deadline. So right now you're seeing a deadline for players tonight at midnight to enter the draft pool. The deadline to pull out is just over a month from now on June 1st. And I think Jalen Williams is going to go through this process, but he is training. And I think we just keep an eye on it. He's got projections. If you kind of look at some mocks and some folks I talked to, early to mid-second round, I've seen some late first-round projections. Well, again, these are other opportunities when you go play in front of scouts and decision makers at the combine or different things. You can move up or down, and I think he needs to go through that process, get all this feedback in, and then make a decision after that.
We're looking forward to the success, whether it's in the NBA jersey or in the Arkansas jersey. Kevin, we appreciate you stopping by for a few minutes, man. Go ahead and get back on that bus and get back on the and have fun with those kids that are going back.
We're having fun on the bus, CJ.
It's a party on the bus. Kevin, I appreciate you stopping by. We got more Pick Trail coming up after the break.